Fixed Wing Guide channel. My name's Stuart Lomas. It's a sunny but breezy Thursday afternoon here in Manchester. Hope you're having a good day. What I want to talk about today, some of you may think sadly not about watches, but about Top Gear, Jeremy Clarkson, the other two, and my general views on the situation. As no doubt you've heard, and as no doubt a lot of you out there will be massive Top Gear fans, as indeed I am. I've been watching Top Gear in all its incarnations since the 1970s. I do remember the days where Noel Edmonds was a presenter on Top Gear, who obviously now is famous for his banker show that they show here on Channel 4. So the situation, some people are viewing quite complex. As you're probably aware, there was a lot of people who signed a petition to save Jeremy Clarkson, and you may well be one of those. I think this is the situation. I'm going to try and break it down into very simple chunks. The first one is the actual incident itself, I suppose, which is, as we're aware, or as we've been made aware, as much as we can trust the press, Jeremy Clarkson took it upon himself to demonstrate his displeasure about not having a meal laid on the hotel in Symonston in Yorkshire after what they class as a difficult day. Now, I'm sure that both you and I would love difficult days, driving lovely cars in lovely locations and being paid quite handsomely for that difficulty. So, as far as we're aware, that's what's happened. On top of that, I have learned today by listening to the radio that there have been over time quite a lot of abuse verbally. I don't know the origins of the producer, but by his name he certainly isn't of British origin, or his parents are not of British origin, so I don't know what kind of abuse racially or otherwise had gone his way, but apparently this has been going on for quite a while. And in the simplest form, if you work for a company and one of your star performers, salesmen, somebody like that who's earning massive commission and therefore lots and lots of profit for the company, decide to take it upon themselves to hit you, would you consider that acceptable? Personally, I wouldn't. I have worked in companies where you always find bullies. A lot of those bullies are bosses. They feel that because they have some form of title or tenure in that organisation that they are able to do what they like. Well, law in general and company law and human rights demonstrates that they're not able to do that, and Mr. Clarkson has taken it upon himself to disregard that, and more importantly in my view he's taken it upon himself to disregard human decency and decide that it's perfectly okay to use his fists to get his point over. I would love to hear from you whether you feel I'm wrong there. Because I don't understand how anybody would feel that it's correct to hit somebody because that somebody has not done something as uninteresting as bringing you a meal. But there you go. Secondly, I feel that Mr. Clarkson and the other two, to be perfectly honest, and I've discussed this with a few people over the last few months, feel that they are far more important than the programme. No body, no star, no manager, no director is bigger than the organisation. I heard a very, very good phrase years ago that a very good boss of mine said to somebody who thought he was far too important to sack. And the phrase was, well, this is how I view the situation. you leaving the company and me dispensing of your services will have as much impact on this company as me taking a bucket full of water out of the swimming pool. There'll be no hole remaining. And I think Mr. Clarkson and his two co-presenters have forgotten that. Also, I believe that the three of them don't appreciate the good gig that they've got. They are transported all over the world, even if they're not recording for Top Gear UK, they're doing little bits for Australia, and they're doing little bits for America and little bits for Germany, and they're making a hell of a lot of money out of selling the franchise. So I've been saying to a lot of people recently, what will they do should this ever come to an end? Well, I don't think they have to worry about that, because somebody else, assumedly Sky, will snatch them up. But I do hope that Sky write a contract for them that reins them in slightly, and if they don't, I think that certainly Clarkson will bring upon Sky or their future employer, whoever that is, the same kind of problems that the BBC are now experiencing. As far as general behaviour is concerned, I'd like to voice my opinion on the 1 million+ people who signed the petition to save Mr. Clarkson. What I have to say about that is probably going to be quite controversial, but I hope that sense and human nature and human decency will take over here. By extension, if you sign a petition to save somebody who has physically assaulted somebody else for something as menial as not bringing you your dinner, by extension you believe that that action is correct. And by further extension, you can only assume that if you have signed that petition, you yourself would hit somebody for not bringing you your dinner. If that's the case, I suggest, as I would suggest to Mr. Clarkson if I spoke to him, he needs to reassess his personality, because by any stretch of the imagination, that is not acceptable. I would have hoped that we as a species would have grown beyond that. It is bad enough that we do not extend our capabilities beyond killing each other. It is indeed what we do best. It's what we've done for thousands of years, tens of thousands of years, and this is unfortunately what I believe we will do for 10,000 of years to come, unless somebody is stupid enough to press the button. So I think the thing is, for me here, is that what you've got are three people who believe that they have such a cushy number they can do and say anything they wish. One out of the three, Mr. Clarkson, certainly believes that he is God Almighty himself, and he can do as he wishes. I've heard somebody on the radio today who says that he supports the people who have been lambasting the producer himself, saying that he brought it upon himself to be hit by Mr. Clarkson. I don't understand that. Somebody please explain that down below if you can. I do now think that the three of them will leave the BBC. I am convinced that all three of them will land multi-million-pound contracts, assumedly with Sky. I do know that Fifth Gear has now been relegated to the History Channel on the Sky network. God knows why. But I think probably Top Gear will get a prime spot, potentially on Sky One. As an evening show once a week, and potentially to compete with the 8 o'clock stroke 9 o'clock slot that Top Gear is on BBC Two. So to wrap this up, I guess the actions of Mr. Clarkson as a decent human being, as I class myself, are wrong. Wrong in so many ways. There is a part of me which I don't think this is going to happen, but there is a part of me that I would like the police independently to bring charges against Mr. Clarkson. They are perfectly able to do that now if they consider that this was a unlawful assault on a colleague who Mr. Clarkson, I hasten to add, had known and worked with for the best part of a decade. I hope the police deem it proper to bring charges against Mr. Clarkson, which I hope would teach him a lesson. The three of them will land, I'm sure, on their feet, a term that I learned many years ago about certain people. If Mr. Clarkson fell in a bucket of shit, he would come out smelling of roses, and that seems to be his lot in life. As far as the other two are concerned, I'm very disappointed with James May. He considers himself to be a gentleman. I saw on the news yesterday that he downplayed this situation by saying it was something of no importance. I would have thought out of the three of them, if he purports to be a gentleman, he would believe in fairness and decency. Obviously not. Very sad, Mr. May. Very sad indeed. And I don't warrant Richard Hammond as giving a comment towards him at all. He is a man of little importance, little brain, and as indeed his colleagues call him, a fridge magnet. So, to sum it all up in a nice neat bow, in my view it was wrong. In my view it is indeed illegal. In my view it is abuse. It is a show of the lack of decency that Mr. Clarkson has, a show of the lack of respect that Mr. Clarkson has for the fellow human beings as well as fellow work colleagues. And you can tell by his marital status now and the goings on with his multiple extramarital affairs that he has very little respect for anyone who is close to him. The only thing apparently that he has respect for is himself. I find that appalling. It's distasteful. If you have any views on what I have to say here, don't forget, down below. If you have opposing views on what I've said, please explain to me down below. I'm quite willing to be proved wrong. I hope Mr. Clarkson learns a lesson from this. I somehow doubt it. And he will go on, no doubt, to a great success, as will his friend, Andy Willman, who is the executive producer on Top Gear, who has probably stood by Mr. Clarkson all the way through this, and you will probably find that Mr. Willman will move along to the next big production, wherever the three of them land. So that's it for today, unless I have any great ideas for another video later on. So, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think, put your views down below, any questions down below, and please don't forget to subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.